Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to tonight's edition of Schmoedown Night in Canada. I am your friendly neighborhood soda here, filling in for Louis the Frenchie Minette as the host. And joining me is our good old engineer, Dave, tonight. How's it going, Dave?
I'm doing great, Soda. Thank you for having me. I feel like the mystique has been lifted. I've been on too many shows with my face, not just a logo.
Yeah, pretty soon we'll have to get rid of the logo. Furlough the logo.
Don't do that, man. It's my safety blanket. I like behind the logo. It's safe behind the logo.
You're having a bad hair day, just throw the logo up.
Oh, I'm going to be having a lot of those coming up real soon, Soda.
Yeah, I did. That's a good thing I got my haircut before everything shut down.
Didn't think that far ahead.
Yeah. So before we get into this week's match, just want to make sure that everybody knows that our interview with Chandru dropped yesterday. If you want to check that out, it was a full-hour interview that Louis conducted with the number one contender for the Intergeekdom title, and it's a very good interview. It goes into many different things, studying methods and whatnot. So yeah, make sure to check that out. So the match that dropped this week was quite the bar burner. It was Who's the Boss versus the Odd Couple Part 2. And woo, was that something else? What were your impressions of it, Dave?
I'm always really excited when we get a follow-up story to an amazing match. We've seen a lot of rivalries come up, but I think this is one of the most understated rivalries in the Schmoedown, because we had that amazing event in, I believe that was in
Chicago.
Chicago, yes. It was in Chicago, where they both played great matches, and the Odd Couple ended up taking it. So I was excited to get something of that caliber again. I did not expect, though, the high intensity that this match provided. What will you?
Oh yeah, for sure. I'm with you there. It was definitely, you could cut the tension with a knife, especially in that first round, which we will be getting into. New points record set with, 37 points, which is astonishing to think.
Yeah, it's hard to even get up to a position where you can score 37 points, especially when the other team isn't providing you with steals. So this should be an accomplishment into itself. And as we break down the match, I think we're going to see exactly why this match, both teams were able to set to the heights that they did.
Yeah, for sure. So we're just going to get right into it. So the first round started off pretty hot with everybody getting their questions right. And right off the bat, Mark Riley gives a line that absolutely killed me. It was the Idris Elba question. And when Snyder answered the black Superman, Idris Elba, they turned to Riley. It's like, Mark Riley, the white Superman, do you have it? I died.
That was great.
Yeah. But yeah, that Idris Elba question, that was would you say controversial?
Well, the question, I don't know if it was controversial.
Sorry, the outcome of the question.
The outcome of the question, I believe is, because there is obviously Jeff, Ben, Mark all say Idris Elba.
Yeah.
And Draco, as a huge Fast and Furious fan, I can't believe I never put this together, that in Hobbs and Shaw there was a character called Draco, and I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, me neither. I didn't know that. But
then when he says Idris Elba, revealing his board and it's spelled Alba.
Yeah.
As soon as they challenge Who's the Boss challenge that, I was like, yeah, that's a good challenge. That is a good challenge.
Same. Yeah, there is precedence for what happened, because Alba and Elba are two different people, no matter how you pronounce it. Like, immediately what came to mind was the David O. Russell controversy from Corruption versus the Founding Fathers last year, because that's pretty much what happened. There was an apostrophe instead of a period, but the argument and that ended up costing them was that O, Russell was different from O. Russell. Well, if that's the case, that should have counted here too, because Alba and Elba are two different people.
I agree, and you can even go back farther to the 2017 to the 2017 tournament where we had Stacy playing against Rachel, and there was a question about the Farley brothers, and Stacy had written it Farley brothers, but she said Fairley, and they ended up not giving it to her. So I was surprised that the league ruled in the way that they did.
Yeah, no, yeah, exactly. It's one of those things like, where is the precedent then? Like, there should be some clear cut rules for instances like this. Like, if it's spelled wrong, and if it indicate like, if it's spelled wrong, but it still indicates the same person, like say you spelled Stallone wrong, you missed an L, like that should count. But when you say Alba and when you write Alba instead of Elba, that should automatically not count because that is a totally different person.
Now, what do you think is more important then? Is it the way it's written or the way it is said?
Geez, I honestly, I think because you can say whatever, but you can always spell it wrong. So I think having it written down is just as important.
Yeah, to me, it's kind of a sliding scale where I think the first person who answers, I think, has to be given the benefit of the doubt that if they say it correctly, if they have it written down wrong, as long as what they say is the same as what they have written down, I'm inclined to give them a little bit more leeway. But once you've heard it correctly, by the time it gets to Andrejko, if he believed that Idris Elba's last name was Idris Elba, but they hears it 3 times being said one way, that's going to change the way you're thinking, which has been the precedent also set in the past. As I go back to that Rachel Stacey match, which is always the David O. Russell thing, is just there's so many hands in that and so much we didn't see that I have a hard time giving stake to that just because I don't feel confident that I know enough. But Fair enough. In this matter where Stacey says it right, spells it completely wrong, and then they go to Rachel and say, but what do you have before we review the challenge? And Stacey says, but no, now she knows how to say it. And then Rachel reveals that she has it written down right. So they give it to her based on what's on her board, but they don't give it to Stacey based on what's on her board. I think in that case, well, let's keep it in this match. I think based on what was on his board should have superseded what he said because he was so far in the rotation.
Yeah, that, and like I've already said, the way it was spelled indicates a different person. Like with Fairley, if you were to miss like an R or an L, it's still Fairley, going back to that Stacey match. But whereas this one, Elba, right? Like, I mean, that was my big thing because, you know, it makes it sound like a totally different person. But the who's the boss lost the challenge, and you could tell it definitely left a mark because there were definitely some snipes thrown back and forth for the next little bit after that. Like, it definitely was heated.
Oh yeah, you can see Jeff and Ben going at it the entire time, talking about is that Jessica Alba's brother or what's going on? Interesting family Christmas that I would want to be invited to if it was Jessica Alba and Idris Elba.
Yeah, no kidding. Too. What the heck are the genetics like to get those two? Jeez.
Perfect, because they're both incredibly attractive human beings.
Yes, they are. Dear Lord. Okay, so now we go on to round number 2.
Oh, before we go to round 2, I actually have something to say.
Go ahead.
Else. So, both Ben and Snyder get perfect rounds here. Correct. It was very interesting with Mark Riley, the one that he missed, if you remember. Yeah. Remember that. It was based on true events of Jordan Belfort. What's the movie? Yeah. Obviously, phrased him like that is such a easy. That's a layup if I've ever seen one. That's a gimme in golf. I'm running out of sports metaphors. That for someone like Riley, who was in 2016 when that movie, or 15, 14, somewhere. I'm not a movie release guy. When that a few years ago, that was like 6 years ago, Soda.
Shit.
He was at least, I'm not sure if he was at Collider yet, but he was at least being a part of Schmoes No, and he was still in that and he was working in entertainment. And that movie was such a big part of the popular culture and in the zeitgeist at that moment that it's so interesting to me that he would miss something like that. We've seen a couple of these misses from big players in the past, but this is the most recent, possibly the most egregious miss that I've seen in a very long time.
You know what I think it was, to be honest? Brain fart. That's more than likely what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it happens to the best of them. So
it does.
Yeah.
I just think it's interesting to bring up.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. Like, I remember I was watching it this morning. I like to watch the matches the day we record these, just so it's more fresher in my mind, even though, yes, I am a patron. And yeah, I do remember sitting there going, like, that was an easy question, but that's probably what it just was a brain fart. Yeah. All right. So any other thoughts for round number one?
No, I just think that was really it. I don't have written down what the Draco miss was, but he also missed one.
Yeah, obviously the belt, the Wolf of Wall Street one is like you said, it's pretty noticeable. So on to round number two, and the odd couple spins opponent's choice. So the boss went with what I would assume would have been a good thing for them was Star Wars, and instead the odd couple actually did really well with that category. I don't think they missed any, did they?
Yeah, they missed. I believe they missed one.
Okay,
one question, but still, for people like that, and by people like that, I mean, if you look back to Mark Andraco's second singles match against John Humphrey after the first free for all, you can see he gets Star Wars in that and does very poorly. He ends up winning the match overall, but he self-admittedly does not like Star Wars. He's not a Star Wars guy. And Jeff, it seems like Star Wars seems like a kind of franchise that he would have covered a little bit, but he just given where he's worked in the past. But it also seems like Snyder is so above those films.
Yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. I follow him on Twitter, and he has admitted in the past so movies like that are not. And same with MCU and stuff; those are definitely not his bag.
Yeah, and it's just because of that, I did not expect them to do this well. Again, though, going 5 for 6 and only giving up a 1-point steal. Yeah, these guys have clearly been doing some studying on the offseason. Even though I will say the Star Wars questions were a little bit easier than I think we've seen in the past.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing about this year is they're recycling all the questions. So you're going to see a lot of easier questions coming through. And you will definitely not see questions like that for a Damon match, though.
No, God, how many films has Darth Maul appear in?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting though that with the corruption family match, there was this big controversy about DCEU films being on the wheel. But as I think back and I go through all the matches that have happened this year, I would say a majority of the matches have included an IG slice on them.
Oh, yeah.
Because you look back to even Deep 13 versus Tom and Paul, Star Trek was on the wheel. We've seen DCEU, Ben Goddard got Middle Earth. I know I've seen it on
there was Middle Earth also at the first live event because Dan put it on the wheel.
That's right. Yeah. So there's so much. I find it interesting how much IG is coming onto the wheel. And I understand that all these were bulk recorded, so that rule change wasn't implemented. But it's fascinating to see the kind of overlap and strategy that's happening this season.
I actually did they make a ruling that IG slices are not allowed on the wheel? Because I thought I heard Harloff say quite a few times on SCN that they will be on the wheel because they are movies, and that's what a single movie is. I
think it's hard to keep track of what all that was. I believe the last time I heard it, he said he was going to make an intergeekdom slice that you could have on the wheel.
Okay,
and then but he was very clear saying next season they're all on the wheel.
Yeah. Okay. So I must have misheard that then because I do remember him saying that they are on the wheel. But
yeah. Now that could have changed. Obviously, I'm a fervent backstage watcher and stuff, and I watch SEN probably every other day, just because there's so much content out there, especially now.
Yes.
That I have a hard time sitting down for 2 hours and listening to it.
Okay.
But yeah, really interesting and shows just how good these guys gotten at studying.
Yeah, for sure. And then it's one of those things like makes you wonder, did they study Star Wars specifically because they knew Mark Riley was on the wheel because of how big of a Star Wars fan he is?
Yeah, like I think if I was to be going up against Ben and Mark, I would probably focus on movie release dates and scores and soundtracks.
Yeah.
But maybe it was something, especially with Riley saying in the past, or not in the past, but saying recently that he has an interest in pursuing a Star Wars run. So maybe all that blustering saying, oh, I could dip my toe into the Star Wars League, tipped his hand a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And like, Who's the Boss is definitely team. Like, you've got 2 former champs on there. Like, you got to study everything.
Yeah. But that's enough for that round, I think.
Yeah,
or not that round. Sorry.
Yes, no, for sure. And then Who's the Boss spun opponents? Not opponents. Just spun Spinner's Choice, and it ended up working out really well for them.
Yeah, interesting choice going with Pixar over something like Oscars.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, no, it's totally out of left field. I did not see that coming.
No, but again, they did fantastically in it, getting 10 points. But they also did put up a 2-point steal, which is interesting. I think it's very much they've become not specialized, but they've really started focusing in on a couple of the things that may have been weaknesses in the past. And with that, we are going to bring in a special correspondent for just 1 minute.
So nice segue from weakness there, Dave.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Oh, nice hair. It's Jeremy Johns in the flesh.
Yeah,
oh my God, he does look like Jeremy Johns.
Right. Yeah. It's been a long couple of days.
Yeah,
I just wanted to say hi. I just want to say thank you for taking over the show. I'll be watching in the background, but I wanted to put my 2 cents in the match. I'm disappointed in I'm disappointed in Snyder. Well, Snyder. Yeah? I need him to rack points for my team fantasy league, and he's not doing anything good. If anyone's watching this in fantasy leagues, I want to exchange him. I exchange him on the spot. I'll exchange him for a bag of potatoes.
I'll give you a guy for Snyder.
Done.
Okay, perfect. We'll talk to Daniel.
Yeah.
All right, but I just want to say hi. I'll be watching in the background and trying to not die here. But nice seeing you guys.
Yeah, see you later, man. Take care.
Thank you.
Feel better, Lou.
Yeah. Well, just take me off. I'll watch.
I just love your segue there. Speaking of weakness, here's Lou.
Well, we all have our opinions about the guy.
Yeah.
What did you guys? So as we wrap up round 2 here, what did you think? Were you surprised that they took Pixar? We look at 100%.
That is Ben. I know Ben is around my age, so I know he would have grown up with the Pixar movies, but it's not something I thought it would have been a strong suit of his. And when he pulled the Ratatouille answer, blew me away because this is a movie I've only seen once, and I wouldn't have been able to get that.
Oh, you got to treat yourself, my man. Ratatouille is the best Pixar movie.
Pull it out, and it is gonna watch after we're done this. But yeah, no, it was. I was very impressed with Pixar. Again, it just shows there really isn't a weak category for those guys.
And that's really the story, I think, of this season, isn't it? All the teams. I can't think of a single team that we've come out and seen and have been given a category like we've seen in the past that they're putting up like 3 points. Every team is coming to play, especially Who's the Boss and Odd Couple, who were both either took or given forms of weaknesses and were able to rise to the occasion so well.
Yeah, no, it was definitely, I don't want to say eye opener, but I was like, once that round was over, I was like, okay, there really is, you're going to be hard pressed to stump these guys.
Yeah. All right. Let's move into the final round now.
Yeah, this was neck and neck going in, and only one of the questions was missed.
Mm-hmm.
That was a 3-pointer for for the Odd Couple, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yes, it was Andrejko's 3-pointer.
Yeah.
And honestly, all these questions were very impressive to me. The remake of Old Boy in 2009 is such an obscure movie. Well, not obscure, such a bad movie that so many people haven't seen that I was surprised that Snyder got it. But
wait. That was a remake of Old Boy?
Oh, sorry, my God. Am I thinking? Oh, sorry, Old Dogs. Old Dogs. My bad.
Yeah. I'm like,
wrote it down in my notes wrong, and I confused myself.
Okay, there.
Yeah, but speaking of the one miss that was had, that was in fantasy sci-fi, where Mark Andrejko, and it was a Star Wars question.
Yeah, and it was again, like, he's admitted that he's not a strong sci-fi person, and that it definitely came through because he looks like he didn't even really try to figure out the answer. Yeah,
he definitely. I think, given context clues, I think he could have got there simply for the fact that he's on Twitter. And if you remember, unfortunately, about all the online harassment that went on with this actress and stuff, you would feel, and Draco is a guy who definitely would have spoken up about that
for
when it
sure.
was happening. And I bet if we did. I bet if we went through his Twitter, we would find that he had some kind of not interaction, but like, hey, cut this bullshit out, guys.
Yeah.
So it was very interesting. I actually want to ask you a question though about that miss. How do you feel about Star Wars and Star Trek and Harry Potter movies being in the fantasy sci-fi zeitgeist when they already have a category and they already have a wheel slice?
It honestly doesn't bother me because that's the thing about movies. They cover so many ground. They're not just pigeonholed into one category. Mm-hmm. So like that doesn't really bother me because those technically do fall into the fantasy sci-fi, and you shouldn't exclude a movie just because it's a big franchise that has its own slice, right? Like what I would do is I would put the easier questions more so in that category than I would into the individual slices.
Okay. I could not be farther from you where I'm like, if it's got a slice, get it out of the category. Because I think it really opens the door for the fantasy sci-fi thing to just become it either will become way too broad or way too narrow with all these Star Wars and Star Trek questions. Especially, I think if it's a 2-pointer, maybe, but once you start getting into 3s and 5s, get those things out of there. I think that there should, like, let's ask some Stardust questions. Let's ask some Star Trooper questions. Let's
Valerian.
I don't know that I've ever heard a round 3 question with Valerian in it. I was trying to think of another movie that has star in the name, but I couldn't come up with it. Stargate. We had like 7 of those at the live event, right? Yeah. I'm sure they're out now.
Yeah, that's one of those things. Like, I do actually agree with what you're coming from. I would not 100% take them out of the category, but I would definitely have fewer of those questions in there for sure.
Yeah. But we get to the end of the round.
A 5-pointer for the Odd Couple. That was very, very niche. That was like an obscure question if I've ever heard one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'd never even heard of that movie.
And that's just the thing when you're dealing with players like that, and especially given their industry, so many they've just heard of films. They've seen films. Like Snyder. Yes.
He's been to a lot of festivals and whatnot. That's based on his nature. In a way, it's not surprising, but in a way, it also is. Like it was a pretty obscure question.
It was obscure, but they didn't take a repeat. They didn't take any extra time. They were just like, I know it. And I was so impressed. And you know what? We're obviously the big story of tonight is who's the boss setting the points record. Yeah. But the Odd Couple putting up 32 points, that's insane.
Yeah. No, for sure. It definitely takes a special team to be able to do that. And these two are definitely special teams.
Oh, they're sure special, aren't they?
Yeah, well, and Snyder's case, a different type of special. Him and his, I put in my notes here, Snyder needs bigger shirts.
I couldn't have answered honestly, once he had that Cubs jersey on, I could not have answered any questions.
Yeah.
I was just blinded the entire time. I was like, oh, it could have been, what is David's middle name? And I would have been like, Francis, I don't know.
Yeah, that's one of the beauty things I love about Snyder is he has no shame, so he's willing to go to any depths to try to throw someone off. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, but if you have 37 points for who's the boss.
Yeah.
Boss.
The new points total for teams.
New point total, which I was doing some math. If you want to hear about my math for a second.
I think I know where you're going with this because I might have done the same thing.
It's so if you look at teams, there's a total of 30 points without steals available in the first two rounds. The max you can get is 40 without any steals. 37 is an insane amount of points.
Yeah.
That means
that's
one miss from Mark Riley.
Yep.
And if Mark Riley hits that one, he probably gets the bonus. And then they're at 39 points. That's insane. That's insane. These are numbers that I can't even fathom.
Yeah. And wait, didn't they not miss? They didn't miss one in the round 2, did they?
No, they did not.
Okay, I was going to say if they had missed one in round 2, that would have been over 40 with steals. But yeah, no, either way, definitely nothing to sneeze at.
Yeah. Based on my math, the highest possible points, because you need to be within 5 on the last question of your opponent. I believe the highest number of points a team could accrue with steals would be 44 points.
Yeah.
Because but that's so impossibly hard. That's the other team putting up a perfect round in round 2 and then getting 10 of their possible 12 in the second round, and then you getting a 2-point steal, which is just insane.
We're never going to see. I do not think we're ever going to see that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, do you have any other takeaways from this match?
No other big takeaways. It was interesting to see that they were still holding firm to their challenge at the end of the match. I like seeing that conviction.
Yeah, 10 out of 10 times you take it, and I 100% agree with them.
Yeah, my one big takeaway was Snyder calling for an Iron Man match.
Really?
Yeah, because I'm not a fan of if you lose. I'm not a fan of you in defeat saying, "Let me beat you this way," because honestly, I don't think it would work out well for Snyder if they had an Iron Man match.
Why do you think that? Is it because he lost in an Iron Man match before? Or?
Well, no, because you look at the 4 players on the board.
Okay.
And I would say on every team, there's A player and a B player. And I think Snyder and Ben are both the A players. And I think they probably know about the same. Ben probably knows just by virtue of studying a little bit more.
Yeah, his Moneyball techniques, as he calls it.
Yes. And then if you're looking at Riley and Andreyko's good, but Riley is in a different league for me. And I know he's had a couple downer results when you look at his singles performance, but in teams especially, even if you go back to Wolves of Steel or going back to season 2
with
Team Champs, when he played with Team Champs, he still played incredibly well then.
Yeah. Then
he has always consistently played very well on a team. And Andreyko, he's very streaky. So I would be, if I was Snyder, I would be staying as far away from any kind of Iron Man match as I could.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, I'm actually excited for this, to be honest. Just to see what happens, like just how close it is.
Yeah, I think this was something I saw in the Facebook group, so I won't take credit for it.
Yeah,
I don't think we'll ever get the Sam Whitwer, Ken Knapsack. Let's make a triple. I'll make a triple buzzer beater. Last second controversy whether or not the buzzer had expired.
Yeah,
that's never going to happen. More often than not, we will get above the line versus Patriots, where 10 minutes into that match, you're like, all right, above the line's going to win.
Yeah.
I think. Now, I really like it when it's like the movie release dates Iron Man match that they had on Patreon.
No, you're thinking Jurassic Park. I don't think they did the movie release day one. Did they?
No, they did. Yep, with Ben, Mance, Hlavik, and Levine.
No, I know the match. I didn't think that was an Iron Man match.
Yeah, that was an Iron Man match.
Oh, maybe I'm mistaken. The only Iron Man match I remember is the Jurassic Park one.
Yeah. Because there was because then they got into the speed because Ben always complains that at the last 5 minutes it was a speed round, and he was Levine and Hlavik should not have been in that round if they were stealing my points.
Gotcha. Okay, it's been a while since I watched it.
Well, you got nothing but time now, Soda.
God dang it. Okay, yeah.
How about you? Any final takeaways for the match?
Yeah, to be honest, for me, it was just like I've always known Andreyko to be witty and funny and very acerbic, but he definitely seemed more heelish in the promo afterwards, the way he was going after Ben. Like he was definitely like twisting the knife a little more.
Well, if you remember, Andreyko is one of those guys who he will come at you if he feels like he has been wronged. I always think back to when he was part of the Lions Den with Jeff Snyder, the post interview for Andreyko versus Harloff, where he starts going in on Harloff in the post game interview, even in a match he's not being in. He's being like, he's the commissioner. He should not be able to allow this, or this. And so he has those heelish tendencies.
Okay, I don't know. I guess just because this is more fresh in my mind, it just seemed like more so than normal. Like I said, he's always been an acerbic. I think he's very witty. I love listening to him talk, but it just, I don't know. Something about it just seemed more so this time around than before.
Yeah. And now that we're wrapping up, as we wrap up match talk, Lou wanted to say some final words.
Yeah, again, my weird hair.
We just can't get rid of you, Lou. Jesus. We just can't get rid of you.
I don't know if you guys talked about this yet, but what are your thoughts about the future of the Schmoes?
Had nothing to do with it. I plead the fifth.
I didn't touch it.
All right. So, what do you guys think about the future of the Schmoedown? If ever we go past the date they have for all the matches, and we're on to maybe Patreon matches or like just exhibition matches over StreamYards and stuff. What do you think of the future if we ever get there?
To be honest, I think it's going to be really hard to get the momentum back that they were on before all this went down. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong, there is a chance that it could come back bigger and better than normal, but I think it'd be really, really hard to recapture.
I think the creative team at the Schmoedown, obviously something like this takes a big undertaking to do, but I think the people involved, if you look at from the very top, from Harloff down to some new people coming in like the Barbarian, everyone is so invested in the product that they're making that when it does come back, I think it will be bigger and better than ever. I think we might have this was season 6.5. Now we're starting season 7 proper.
Yeah.
But as someone who not only watches a lot of fan league matches, but participates in them as well, I'm interested to see what the Schmoedown proper can do, especially with the list that Harloff put out saying these are the types of matches we would like
Which
to
I'm
do.
looking forward to, I might add.
The championship match, especially peaks money.
Yeah.
Now, Damon, obviously, he's getting kicked out of that round 1. But sure. But what about you, Lou?
I hope we go back strong. I hope we go with what Harloff said. We're gonna see maybe 3 matches a week to catch up. Yeah. Especially there's a lot of factions like Finstock. Finstock Exchange has so many matches played, and then you get like a couple of teams that have like 3 matches. So there's a lot of catching up to do. What I expect maybe is not having a break in December like they usually do. They might have a longer season to catch up and have like a huge season instead of splitting the year, So there's going to be a lot of changes. I just hope that their alliance with Skybound is still rock solid, that Skybound sticks.
From everything that's been that I've heard Harloff talk about, because I face it, I've been laid off. I've got nothing else to do, so I've watched SCN every day. And it sounds like the relationship is still going strong. And honestly, he was hinting that right before all this happened, they were this close to getting in their own studio. So if that happens, if they get their own studio, I agree with Lou. They should. That's probably what's going to happen.
And I hope also we start seeing the matches of the competitors that were not able to fly in, to prioritize the ones that were so far away. Start with them because we haven't seen them as much overall, and then going back to the classic ones that we keep seeing the early season, except for like the title. Sorry, the title match and stuff like that. But this give us new faces that we couldn't see before.
No, for sure. And like I said, if they get the new studio, they can definitely amp up the matches, and we probably definitely will see those new faces. Like I know a couple weeks ago when Oyama was on backstage, Harloff had said that he actually had flown in from Hawaii, but they had when he landed, the match was canceled because it was right at the beginning of the outbreak. So I mean, he had to fly back home, right?
Yeah. And where do you think they're going to start the live event? The live events are
New York, not New York. Sorry, Los Angeles. Start local.
I mean, like right off the bat, or do you think they're going to wait before?
They're probably going to wait before because there's probably a lot of people who will be very skeptical about going into a theater right off the bat.
Not only that, but a lot of people will just be getting back to work, so they won't be able to spend a lot of money. I wouldn't be surprised if the first match back is the match that we were supposed to get yesterday, which is Corruption Founding Fathers 3.
Yeah, for the title.
That was Harloff put that up on Facebook yesterday. That was supposed to be in an alternate universe. We got that match yesterday.
Yeah, wasn't that supposed to be live too? Also a throwdown.
That was a throwdown. Yeah.
And what about Free for All?
That's just going to get canceled. They're not.
No, I think it's going to happen later in the year.
Yeah.
I don't know because
it's my favorite event of the whole year. That would suck because I want to see what Bibiani does or the kid does this year.
Yeah,
this year or so.
I think the unfortunate thing is, as we look forward into this, we're already getting into the dates are like mid-May, but let's be realistic. That's going to be like mid-June at the earliest. And then, it sucks. So then start ramping things up again. But now we're already into collision time. Now we have tournaments happening. Then we're going to have the spectacular a little bit after that, and just in late November, early December. So I just don't know when logistically a free-for-all fits into that timeline.
I would probably say mid-fall.
That's right when they start doing tournaments, though, right?
True. Yeah, no.
Everything's so crammed. Everything is so going to be condensed that something's going to get cut. They want to do multiple tournaments. Either something's going to get cut or it's going to be one long season for 2020, 2021. So they have no choice.
Yeah, we'll just have to wait and see is what it comes down to. But I for one would not. I don't want to see the free for all go this way of the dodo this year. But if it does, it does. There really is nothing we can do about it, right?
Yeah.
Well, if they cut the free for all, they're gonna have to make it up for next season with something even more spectacular to add a twist to the free for all.
Twice as many people.
700 people.
Yeah.
Every person who buys a ticket gets a number.
The Schmoes of the North make their debut.
Well,
if I start in the top five, good luck to me. But what I was gonna say, either that or what was the other concept they wanted to do? The fans wanted. There's like this wrestling thing that happens.
Survivor Series.
Elimination.
Yeah. If they have to cancel free for all, they might have to up their game by adding a brand new.
Logistically, that is a tough one to pull off in a competition like this.
Well, it's more so, I think, just the physical real estate around a desk is difficult to accommodate. So I think if they got their own studio, I think that would be something they do. Because Harloff's talked about wanting to do something like that a lot. Yeah. So I wouldn't be surprised to see that down the road. Maybe that's a season 8 or season 7.5 opener.
Really, the only way you'd be able to do is to build their own version of the Family Feud set.
Show me potato salad.
Yeah,
we were looking.
Would it work on a live event with a big enough stage in a theater? Could they do it?
Yeah. If you did something in like the Kodak where they do the Oscars or something, sure, but yeah, they would definitely need a bigger theater, and it would have to be something that would have to be done locally.
Yeah,
like in Los Angeles.
Oh, for sure. Flying that many people out would just be a nightmare.
Yeah, true. Yeah, it's just the future is to be seen. I just hope they're able to recover and also able to retain the audience, because there's hardcore fans like me and you and all three. But the casual fans, I just hope they don't leave their Schmoedown away and never come back. I really hope they grow their database, because it was going up in popularity because it's SEN and stuff like that. I just hope it doesn't drop back.
If the NHL can get their fans back after the 2004-2005 season closure, and if MLB can get their fans back after canceling the World Series in '94, I think the Schmoedown's going to be okay.
Yeah, well, they have a bigger audience, right? Like it or not, we're popular, but we're not in the millions of viewers.
True, but those two instances were done because union and owners couldn't get together. This happened because of Mother Nature, right? So that's why I'm
positivity.
I'm positive. I have a good feeling that it's going to come back strong.
Let's be positive, Lou.
Oh, I'm for someone who has to live with this goddamn virus, I'm trying to be positive.
And with that,
I'm sorry.
I think we're gonna end the show here.
Yeah.
I'm gonna call the ball here. Lou, before you pop off, where can people find you online?
You can find me on the Twitter as Schmoes or Northern Schmoes if you need to talk to me. If not, you can find me on Facebook. If not, nowhere else, because I'm not that active.
Especially right now.
All right, Soda.
You can find me across the board at Soda_the_Saxman. And like I said at the beginning of the episode, if you haven't already, be sure to check the interview that this man did when he looked 100% better with Chandru. That has dropped the day before this episode. So be sure to check that out. And other than that, I'm going to be sitting on my couch for a while here. So
yeah, and guys and girls, be safe. If you don't have to go out there, don't go out there. Yeah. We need you 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you can find me right there. But since Lou didn't apparently want to say that, let's end the show. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe.
All right.
Bye, guys.